Hello, my name is Kyla Wood. I work for Applied Polymer Systems, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a very simple screening level test to determine which type of APS Floc Log will work to remove suspended sediment and turbidity from your site's water. Now, this test is a very simple screening level test that can be done on site. When we do our analysis in the lab, we oftentimes use a turbidity meter, we measure water characteristics, but in general, just to determine which flocculant is going to work, we can use visual assessment, and this is really useful when we need to determine it on the field and we might not have a lab to send samples to. So we're going to walk through how to determine which Floc Log is most effective for water treatment and water clarification just based on this simple screening level test and visually observing which water is the clearest. So to get started, all you're going to need is some clear plastic cups, your sample of the dirty turbid water from your site, and then an APS sample kit. So in this sample kit, there are both powders and Floc Logs. If we are not using powders and we are just planning on using Floc Logs, you don't need to use the powders. So I will go ahead and pull out our different Floc Logs. When you unpack the sample kit, you're going to notice that there are 5 different types of logs with different numbers on them, and these correspond with our different formulations. The reason we have to do this sample kit is because one type of Floc Log does not work on all soil and water. So we have a range of different formulations that will basically cover all of the different, over 95% of soil samples that we send in, one of these formulations is going to work on them. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we have our samples out and we have our turbid water. Basically, what you're going to want to do is take your turbid water and pour a small amount into each sample cup. We're going to need to swirl these sample cups, so you don't want to fill them too full or you're going to spill. So fill your sample cup about 1/3 of the way with the water sample from the site. So now we have our 3 different cups here. We'll start with 3. And you can start and test all 5. A lot of times we start with a couple logs that are usually most effective, and so we normally start with our 703D number 3 and our 706B. And if those don't work, then we can move on from there and test the others. So today I'm going to start with our 706B, our 703D number 3, and we'll go ahead and throw in a 703D. So now that we have our water in our different cups, we're going to take a small amount of the Floc Log samples from these bags. We only need maybe an eraser-sized piece. So this is our 703D number 3. You can see I'm going to pull off just a little piece here. Sometimes they're a little bit gooey. So just a very small piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in my 703D number 3 cup. So the way that the Floc Logs work is that they have to be in flowing water. So this is what we're going to do when we're doing a treatment in the field. We're going to place them in flowing water so they can dissolve, react, and form flocks that we can then settle out of the water column. So now I've put my 703D number 3. What I want to do is I want to not only determine visually how clear the water gets, but I also want to make sure I know how long the reaction takes. So we're going to swirl it for 15 seconds at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then we're going to stop, take a look. We can already see a reaction taking place. So the water, the Floc Log is working, it's binding the particulate together, but it's still kind of cloudy. So we're going to give it another 15 seconds. So 30 seconds is a pretty good reaction time that we would typically try to get to with our different logs. So we can stop at 30 right now. We saw a good reaction taking place. It's a little bit cloudy, so we'll go ahead and set this one here and then try our next log. So now we'll go with our 706B. So again, take a small eraser-sized piece, keeping track of which log I'm putting into which cup. So we're going to swirl for 15 seconds. So again, we see a little bit of reaction taking place after 15 seconds, but we're going to give it another 15. So that was good. After 30 seconds, we had some really large floc form. It's settling out pretty rapidly, and you can see the clear water on top. So that one looks like a really good pick. Again, just visually, so far we've done these two. It's kind of hard to see, but this one is a little bit cloudier, even though they both worked. This one's a little bit cloudier, this one's a little bit clearer. We'll let those set for a few seconds, and then we'll try another one. And then once we get done, we can go ahead and take a closer look at them and pick which one we think is the most effective. So this is our 703D. We'll go ahead and do it one more time. We'll give it 15 seconds. So 15 seconds, I'm pretty much not seeing anything happening in this one, but we're going to give it another 15 seconds just for fair comparison. So then this one had 30 seconds of mixing just like the other ones, and we can see a little bit of reaction taking place, but maybe not quite as good as the others. You can see it's still clear, it's still a little bit cloudy and settling slower. So now I'm going to try to get a closer look at the three of these. So we'll do a visual observation. This was our 703D. And you can see it's cloudy. The floc is small inside, so we're looking at just visually how clear the water is, and we're also looking at the particle size. And you can kind of see if we look down at the bottom, the water's cloudy and it's made really fine particulate. So if we did use this, it's going to settle slower. So now we can look at our 703D number 3. This one looks good. It's a little bit cloudy. It settled pretty quickly, but there's still a bit of a cloudiness to the water. So this makes our visual observation easy because this one's a little bit cloudy. This one's clear. It settled really rapidly. And visually, I know that based on this simple, a couple-minute test, that I'm going to go with our 706B. It worked on the soil and water sample that I had from this site. And that's going to be the Floc Log that I'm going to put down. And as long as I get enough mixing and reaction, we're going to, that's probably less than 20 NTUs, from a few hundred down to 20s. So that is how we do a simple screening level cup test. If you come across any challenging samples where maybe this doesn't work, then sometimes we do try combinations of the logs together. The best thing to do at that time would be to go ahead and call our office and we can walk you through. Most of the time, again, the 706B, the 703D number 3, separately or combined together is going to work on over 90% of samples. So I would always suggest trying those first. And if they don't work, then we can move on to the other samples or combinations. So again, simple test in the field, visual observation, I can determine a Floc Log that's going to be effective at clarifying a turbid water sample. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can contact us at Applied Polymer Systems, and we can walk you through any questions or any troubleshooting. Thank you.